Hello my wonderful viewers and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we're going to take a look at one of my favorite pet theories from the world of Kaiju number 8. Namely, whatever happened to Kokoro Shinomiya's mother and Kaiju Defense Force captain of the which division was she captain of? I can't remember, 4th or 2nd. Anyway, Kaiju Defense Force Captain Hikari Shinomiya. However, we are going to take a look at it through two lenses, the lens of art and the lens of words. Because the words of Chapter 68 and the art of Chapter 68 are saying two very, very different things about the state of Hikari Shinomiya, even though neither addresses it directly at all. Now, obviously there are going to be spoilers through Chapter 68, but you have been warned. As I pointed out in the last video, the statement that the suit being given to Kokoro was the very same her mother wore almost certainly means that Hikari is dead. My first clue actually came with my first excited reading of the chapter. As I blitzed through the 30 pages in my eagerness, I experienced a small mental speed bump on that page. Rather, two small mental speed bumps. Bear hunters and femininity. Hear me out. The first one is the rather obvious references to modern-day bear hunting. Well, these just don't show up in manga. Japan is a heavily developed country, and even a wild deer is a rare sight in a story with a modern setting. Hunters of any sort are rare in any depiction of modern-day Japan, and for the life of me, I cannot recall a single instance of an actual bear hunter, let alone a bear hunting club being referenced in any manga I've ever read. I can only recall one instance of deer hunting being mentioned in a modern context, and a few references to fishing in very rare recreational park-like settings. But actual bear hunters with actual bear-trained dogs going out with the high-powered weapons needed for that effort? I've never once read of such a thing. And no, I am not counting where the shonen protagonist hero goes out and bare knuckles the bear for his training. That is a completely different meme and is a completely separate concept from a club of modern day hunters going out to hunt bears. But do let me know in the comments if you have ever seen a reference to a modern bear hunting in manga or anime. Now, I am fully aware that this almost certainly does not reflect the actual size of ursine conservation in modern day Japan. There are bears in Japan. The Japanese black bear is a smaller Asian cousin of the North American black bear that I am familiar with. Far, far too familiar with, in fact. Pro tip, folks, there is no such thing as a small bear, not when it is lunging into your tent at 2:46 a.m., 25 river miles from the nearest village, and yours is not the tent that gets to keep the shotgun. My own personal history aside, conservationists estimate that there are around 10,000 Asian black bears alone in Japan. When you have bears, you have problem bears. Sometimes you need to shoot them, and often hunting is simply the best way to manage populations of animals that have no natural predators. Hunting clubs provide willing volunteers who not only are ready and able to take out problem bears and manage the population, but they are willing to pay thousands of dollars for the privilege. Hunting clubs pour thousands upon thousands of dollars into the conservation efforts, be it their ammo taxes and hunting fees and bear tags, and this is a really useful dynamic. But, well, I have never researched it, but I can rationally assume that bear hunting is at least as common in Japan as it is, say, in New England or other developed parts of the U.S. Probably not as big a deal as it is, say, in the Aleutian Islands, but that culture does exist in Japan. However, whether or not it exists isn't the main issue here. The concept is, does this culture ever show up in mainstream shonen manga and anime? Well, in my experience, no. You might catch the occasional shonen protagonist bare-knuckle boxing an animal as part of his In the Mountains training arc, but that role of the animal to be defeated is most often filled by a boar, probably due to the influence of the grasscutter legend. Cultural animal representations aside, the concept of a bear hunting club is just not something you see in shonen manga set in the modern day or 5 minutes in the future. Correct me if I'm wrong, it just isn't done. So, the hunter and his good boy doggo and his gun were a massive, call it a green flag to me. The kind that says, look here, this is something very important. Rather call it a pink flag. Like the kind of pink flagging that you use in conservation work when you're out working in the woods. That pink flag was so interesting that I barely noticed the second one. But this video is getting way out of hand. so I will save the details for the next flag for another video entirely. Suffice it to say, Bear Hunter is the first distinctly feminine kaiju we have ever seen. Look at the head shape, the proportion in the shoulders and knees and hips. That is a feminine kaiju. A giant feminine kaiju, but a feminine kaiju nonetheless. The classic, the metaphorical, the mimetic 60-foot tall woman. Then the words. The hunter reported her glowing white, and she didn't hurt anyone. And unlike every other kaiju reported, she did no damage and avoided disrupting city infrastructure. Now, where am I going with this? Do I think that Bear Hunter was some manifestation of some part of Hikari Shinomiya? Yes, I think she might be. Bear Hunter, the first feminine kaiju, who is outright stated to be glowing white. Only one other kaiju has been described by color like that. The jet black kaiju number 8. Hikari Shinomiya, the woman who wore what was, as far as we know, the only white numbers weapon suit. Granted, we haven't seen 1, 3, 5, 7, or 10 yet, but every common defense force suit is black. Number 2 suit is black, and most tellingly, even the ice-themed number 6 suit is black. Now, this is just visual imagery after all. That it overlaps might just be thematic mirroring, but I want you to take a good long look at the two images circling on the screen. One of Hikari Shinomiya's face as we see her, one of Bear Hunter as we first see her. Note that aside from Bear Hunter's legs being bent to fit into frame, they are in the exact same pose, standing tall, arms slightly bent behind them for balance, chest out, head turned to look over their right shoulder, giving a full side profile. Most of the face seemingly obscured by a mask of some sort, the camera angle looking up at them in awe from the lower right-hand corner. Even the wispy white clouds above Bear Hunter's head mimic the lightning bolt shape of Hikari's distinctive manga hair. And it isn't just the art as it is that makes these two images mirrors. Both are being observed by one individual who is in turn being observed. In Hikari Shinomiya's case, Kikoru is recalling the footage of her mother in the number 4 suit in what we see as a flashback, while Kikoru is hacking up the ants with her battle axe. This footage is where in universe Hikari is referred to as a Valkyrie. In Bear Hunter's case, she is being observed by a bear hunter with his dog, but the bit about her being glowing white is being described by, once again, the gathered high command of the defense force. Valkyrie, lightning bolts, battle axes, bear hunting out of context, giant troll-like humanoid creatures in the mountains. These are, none of them, other than the Valkyries, unique to any one culture. However, taken as a through line connecting Hikari and Bear Hunter, which is again just my theory, I might be completely off base here, but these points taken as that through line and anchored with the world Valkyrie, it all speaks of a Scandinavian theme, the taste of Vikings. It really makes me wonder if Valkyrie was the concept originally used in the Japanese version of the manga, and if it was that word only translated, or if it was the concept of itself, what was it translated? However, it is at the very least the through line. All these elements can't be coincidence, and separated by over 20 chapters, it draws a definite connection between Captain Hikari Shinomiya and the glowing white kaiju spotted in the mountains. On further artistic notes, things that glow white are artistically pure and holy, and the wisps coming off the back of Bear Hunter's head mimic the ribbons holding back Hikari's hair. And we don't see wisps of flesh like that on any other kaiju who isn't actively in a fight and getting ripped to pieces. So Bear Hunter is the only kaiju in the lot that we see that did no harm, didn't disrupt a major city causing panic and fear. Moreover, she is drawn as distinctly feminine and is artistically connected both visually and by subtle storytelling to Hikari Shinomiya. So what could possibly be the connection? If the defense force somehow managed to get the weapons number 4 back, but not Hikari, how did that work? So, assuming this isn't all a red herring to keep the theory of Hikari Shinomiya's continued existence alive in the fandom, here's my best guess. They, meaning the defense force who were cleaning up after the Kaiju number 6 battle, found something organic in the suit that might have once been a human body and just assumed that Kaiju number 6 attacks and the stress of overworking the suit combined to render Hikari's body unidentifiable. Somehow, Hikari's consciousness survived, and the sudden introduction of Aiso Shinomiya's mind and will fighting against Kaiju number 9 gave her consciousness and will, long subdued by Kaiju number 9, a chance to break free, and she manifested some control over an existing Kaiju, imbuing at least its shape with the characteristics of her remembered self-image, the white color, the vaguely feminine frame, a desire not to harm humanity. Or there might be another concept, that perhaps this was the result, an unconscious result of Director General Shinomiya's fighting at this point. Maybe it was he who impressed his perception of his wife onto this form. But this is all a theory. However, I don't imagine for a moment that Bear Hunter's appearance and behavior are just coincidence. There's too many points converging in these two images. And if there isn't some element of Hikari Shinomiya still active in the world of Kaiju number 9's absorption, there is still a fairly decent explanation for his appearance. Recall, most of the chapter is framed in the context of the fact that Aiso Shinomiya has been fighting number 9 with everything he has, and it is implied that he at the very least observed the development of the newborn Kaiju. Could it be that Aiso was able to do more than just observed? What if something of Aiso was transferred to these Kaiju? What if the image, the behavior so like Hikari Shinomiya, was the imprint of Aiso's memories and will on the pliable nature of the growing Kaiju? All told, I still lean towards the idea that Hikari Shinomiya is still out there, or still in there, just waiting for Kaiju number 8 to swoop in and use his Kaiju degeneration powers to save the day and extract the two lovers from their prison by punching the snot out of Kaiju number 9, and then present Kikoru's parents back to their daughter through the power of friendship and, well, punching things really hard. But what do you think, my wonderful viewers? Is there something more to the glowing white mountain Kaiju, or am I just seeing things? Leave your comments and theories below the video, and peace out, my wonderful viewers. Remember, October 2022 is coming up, and with that, it will become the Indiegogo for my latest book, Humans Are Weird, title to be announced on the release. Humans Are Weird, we took a vote, and Humans Are Weird, I have the data. 2 books in a series of human absurdity. Go check out these short story collections. What will our little green friends think of us when we finally do make it to space? Find out the answer in 2 books of human absurdity. Humans Are Weird, we took a vote, and Humans Are Weird, I have the data. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Google Play.